Alex was 8 years old the first time he kicked a ball properly. He was good enough that his parents drove him to Saturday trials, good enough to earn a place in a regional youth club, good enough that someone told him, once, that he had real potential. School followed, then exams, then a steady job after university, and the football dream faded the way most childhood dreams do. Not in one moment, but slowly, across hundreds of ordinary days. Watching those kids train below his window today, he can't help wondering, what would it have actually looked like if he had followed that path? The route to professional football in England doesn't start at 18 or 16. For most players who eventually make it, the journey begins somewhere between the age of 6 and 8. Scouts from professional clubs attend youth tournaments, local leagues, and regional competitions looking for children who already show early technical and physical signs. If one catches their eye, a trial gets offered. If the trial goes well, an academy place might follow. That letter marks the beginning of a journey that will make enormous demands on the child, the family, and eventually, the finances. There is no degree required to become a professional footballer, no A-levels, no vocational training certificate. The qualifications that actually matter, the ones that get you through the door, are far harder to earn than any exam. Physically, you need speed, endurance, technical ability, and tactical intelligence at a level that stands out in a room where everyone else is also at that level. Mentally, you need the ability to handle public failure, intense competition, constant evaluation, and the knowledge that one serious injury can close the door without warning. Academy places at professional clubs are reviewed every year. A player accepted at 9 can be released at 12, and one who had a professional contract at 18 can find himself without a club at 20. There's no formal qualification for surviving that, no certificate for resilience, just the long, slow process of discovering whether you have what it takes, and then having someone else decide if it's enough. Football looks free. A ball, a field, some kids running around. But pursuing football seriously costs money, more than most people expect, and more than most people ever get back. Annual membership at a quality grassroots club runs £300 to £800 a year. A decent pair of boots costs £150 to £300, and they need replacing every few months. Travel to trials, tournaments, and away games. Some families make that journey every weekend for years. Private coaching, which many serious academy players take on top of club training, costs £50 to £100 per session, alongside physiotherapy when injuries occur, nutrition supplements, and gym memberships for strength development. By the time a player turns 16, having never earned a single pound from football, their family may have spent £15,000 to £40,000 or more just to give them a genuine chance. And at that point, the majority still don't have a professional contract. Many don't have any contract at all. The investment is real. The return is not guaranteed. A professional footballer's daily routine does not look like a social media highlight reel. 6 in the morning. Wake up. A nutritionally managed breakfast. Arrive at the training ground by 8. Morning session. Technical drills, tactical work, physical conditioning. 2 to 3 hours. Lunch is tracked and adjusted by the club nutritionist based on the week's workload. Afternoon. Gym sessions, recovery treatment, ice baths, physiotherapy, stretching, and video analysis of the next opponent. Evening. Home, sleep, repeat. The social life that most 25-year-olds take for granted, late nights out, spontaneous weekends away, irregular sleep, skipping the gym because you don't feel like it, is largely incompatible with a professional football career. One bad night before a match can affect performance. Performance affects selection. Selection affects your contract. Your contract affects everything. The office doesn't look glamorous from the outside, but from inside the daily structure of professional football, the word freedom starts to mean something completely different. The salary. This is where the image and the reality of professional football sit furthest apart. The highest earning footballers in England make extraordinary money. The top earners at the biggest clubs can take home £200,000 to £500,000 per week, more in a single year than most people earn in several lifetimes combined. That is real, and it is not an exaggeration. The Premier League holds around 500 playing spots in a country of 67 million people. A player in League Two, the fourth professional tier, earns an average of around £20,000 to £60,000 per year, before tax. Some earn less. Many are on part-time contracts. A championship player might earn anywhere from $50,000 to $500,000 per year, with most sitting toward the lower end of that range. The Premier League minimum wage sits at around £900,000 per year, but the majority of Premier League players earn significantly above the minimum, and those contracts number only in the hundreds. A significant portion of professional footballers in England earn a salary comparable to, and sometimes below, a skilled office worker, teacher, or engineer. The professional football pyramid is wide at the base and extraordinarily narrow at the top. Most players who make a living from football make it in the lower divisions, for shorter periods, for less money than the outside world imagines. The millions are real, they are just very, very rare. The positives first. If you reach the top level, the financial rewards are genuinely life-changing. Career earnings that, managed correctly, could support you and your family for the rest of your life, long after the playing days end. Doing what you love as a career is something most people never get. For those who reach professional football, that matters enormously. The platform, the travel, the community. Football gives players a sense of belonging and purpose that very few careers provide. Now the other side. The career is short. The average professional career ends around 35. Many end earlier, not by choice, but because of injuries that don't fully heal, contracts that don't get renewed, or clubs that restructure and release players without warning. The psychological pressure is constant. Public criticism, social media, performance anxiety that follows players home from every bad game. And the income, however large, only flows during that window. Everything that follows, potentially 40 more years of adult life, must be funded by what was earned in 8 to 12 years of playing. The competition, in actual numbers. In England, roughly 750,000 children play organized youth football every year. Of those, a small fraction receive academy trials. Of those who trial, a smaller fraction earn places. And the majority of those who do earn places are still released before their 18th birthday, not because they lack ability, but because the spaces simply don't exist. At any given time, approximately 5,000 people in England earn a living as professional footballers. Around 500 of them play in the Premier League. The rest are spread across the lower divisions, some earning comfortable wages, many earning modest ones, almost all aware that their career could end at the next serious injury or the next transfer window. This is not to suggest it's impossible. People make it every year. The people who do are not simply talented. They are among the most physically gifted, most disciplined, most mentally resilient, and frequently the most fortunate people in the country. Talent is the entry requirement. Everything else determines who stays. And then, one day, the career ends, usually before 40, sometimes before 30, and often without the clean, planned ending that players imagine during their peak years. A contract not renewed, an injury that never fully cleared, a club in financial trouble releasing players to cut costs. For a footballer who spent their entire adult life inside a highly structured environment where the club managed what they ate, when they trained, where they traveled, what they focused on, the sudden absence of that structure can be genuinely destabilizing. And financially, the risk is significant. Studies have found that a significant percentage of professional footballers face serious financial difficulties within 5 years of retirement. High earnings, a short window, and no long-term plan. The players who manage the transition well are almost always the ones who started planning during their playing years, building investments, understanding how tax and income work, creating financial structures that didn't depend entirely on the next contract. The playing career is the asset, and like any asset, it only holds its value if someone is actively managing it. You're thinking about becoming a professional footballer, or more likely, you're a parent watching a child who might have the talent. The honest answer: pursue it seriously only if the child is genuinely unable to picture wanting anything else. Not the money, not the fame, not the lifestyle, but the game itself. Because the game is what you live with every day, at every level of professional football, whether you're earning $500,000 a week or $40,000 a year. Pursue it only if the family can absorb the financial cost of the journey without real hardship. Years of spending with no guaranteed return is a significant commitment, and it should be made with eyes open. And crucially, pursue it while keeping options open alongside it. The most financially secure former footballers, the ones who navigated the transition out of the game without crisis, almost all had something running in parallel. education they had completed, business interests built during their playing years, relationships with people who existed outside football entirely. Football is a genuinely extraordinary career for the people who reach the top level. For those who spend years in the professional game without reaching the very top, and there are many, it is a short career that requires a long, deliberate financial plan. The dream is real. The odds are long. The ones who make it, and stay made, are the ones who understood both of those things at the same time.